right, it is now 1:30. I call to order the Thursday, March 5th IT and Equalization Committee to order. I trust you've had an opportunity to read the minutes of February 5th. If so, I entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Collins, supported by Commissioner Tillotson. Any amendments or corrections? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those same sign. We have approved the minutes of February 5th. On to the IT Committee. Finance report.
You will find your finance report in your packet. The capital fund, your IT division, excuse me. You have various projects that are currently open, and you can see that you've had 2 projects hit current year expenses. And the balance available for future projects is just under 300,000. I will answer any questions should you have them.
Any questions of the finance report? Hearing none, seeing none, move along to IT report. Director Ricker.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Just make comment on a couple of our projects that we had opened from our last meeting. Computer replacement, we are starting our initial inventory for the systems that will be replaced for 2026. Once that's confirmed, the new systems will be ordered and we'll start that process of getting them out. The other project for judicial court computers, we are getting our final quote refreshes for the computers and all the peripherals for the replacement of the courtroom audio recording computers. Some of the peripherals might be some of the audio devices and such, so we're going to be working on that as well. Other than that, if there's any questions?
Any Administrator Murphy?
Not so much a question, but Ben, could you go over it? We always have this included in the packet, but we never really touch on it. And that's the IT department overview of all of the different audits that you do. I think it's important to hit some of these because in some cases, as an example, the number of cameras that you're monitoring now on the campus have increased tremendously. And the number of employees we have doing the work has not. So I just kind of wanted, if you could hit or highlight some of these or explain what some of these are for this committee, I think it would be helpful.
Yeah, no problem. So this breakdown pretty much just kind of covers all the stuff. It's kind of meant to be an overview of all the stuff the IT department is kind of looking at and responsible for and helping the county with. So like up at the top, it's kind of got like the number of our staff. And then it kind of breaks it down into our buildings, the number of computers we have, the number of users throughout the county. And if you do a comparison of like we have 6 staff with IT and then 600 to 700 users throughout the county, and we're having to cover that with the number of staff we have. So it just kind of gives an overview of that. If you were to do some research online, there are ratios when you look at number of IT staff to users and where we would fall with like kind of industry standards of that type of thing. So it kind of lets us kind of see where we're at with things like that. Same thing with the rest of the data there. How many printers are we managing? And throughout the years, you can see that that number has went up, and the department needs for things like that. Our firewalls, Administrator Murphy mentioned the cameras. Over the years, the ability for us to be able to have security cameras in different buildings we've been able to do more with that. So now there's a lot more of that around, and we're able to monitor more of the stuff going on, and the IT department is able to manage that. And then there are some other departments like the sheriff department that is able to do that as well. But yeah, if you have any questions, I can answer.
Commissioner Van Dorn.
Thank you, Chairman. So when I look at this one that says video conferencing down there, and it says no audit, what are we auditing at video conferencing?
So video conferencing, for one example would be like in our courtrooms, we have Polycom devices that do video calls like to the jails or to other entities.
So you're just making sure they all work right or that?
Yes, yeah. So, yeah, if they have a problem with them, our department is the one that gets called and helps to resolve that issue or contacts the vendor that might need to be involved to help resolve that issue.
Okay. Thanks.
Any additional questions? One question I would have is, how is our county, and this might not just be for you, but utilizing the advancement of AI?
At the moment, there's nothing central the county is doing. It's more probably on a user basis,
Mhm.
department/user basis. If a department or user finds it, I would say useful, I would just stress that they do it, with, an educated purpose, make sure they know, do their research on what it's returning to them. And also be careful on what they're entering into AI and that it's not any sort of confidential information that you're feeding into those databases.
Can you expand upon where our county will be in the next, say, 5 years of uses of AI, both pro and con?
That's something that I would say is still in research, like, to see where things are going. Our statewide, peer group, uh, that all other, county IT, directors and technicians and stuff, kind of collaborate with. We're all kind of looking at it and seeing where it will be useful. Some departments, for example, 911 centers are looking at using AI for how calls are handled and things like that. But there's a lot of different ways that AI can be used, and finding what will be better for the county and different solutions is still something we're looking.
Because not everybody here today
Mhm.
knows as much as everybody else. Can you kind of expand upon that and talk about AI and what the opportunities are, what it's like using or uses of it?
I guess the biggest thing is it's a way for, if you think about it, so most users on the internet perform things like a Google search or something like that, where you put something in and it spits something back out. And when it does that, it's looking at whatever database it has to get you that information. AI is basically taking that type of a thing and just expanding what it's able to do, at a much larger rate, much larger databases, and pulling a lot more data, and then trying to crunch it through algorithms to, provide, as accurate as possible for what you are requesting. What could that do? There's just a lot of different possibilities that could come of that.
I mean, like, for an example, you could write me a book on science and football where the main character's name's Jeff, and it'll spit out in 10 seconds a 300-page eloquently written book.
Yeah, you could,
Just, and each time you did it, oftentimes it would have a different topic, which is kind of really crazy too to think
Mhm.
about. But county governments and local governments are going to have this opportunity, but it comes with some risk, whether it's cameras and security or law enforcement or whatever. So I think this committee, obviously being the IT committee, has a unique vantage point and input point. So,
and to go with what you were saying, it touches on any points of data. So like you were saying, if you ask it to write you something, it goes for art, it goes for video, it goes for audio. Like it can create and back anything that you ask for. If I wanted it to create, if they had enough information, it could probably reproduce that.
right. And then other unique things that it does, and it's going to change our employment probably in the foreseeable future when it comes to various jobs that we'll need more of and certain jobs that we'll need less of as a county government, as well. But like, you can just talk into it and say, you know, write me a financial plan or business plan, and it'll pop out in 5 minutes, this whole thing that would have taken a long time to write. And as I'm filibustering, I will call on Administrator Murphy. And my question actually to the group as well as you is, do we have an AI policy for employees?
So we don't have specifically an AI policy. Now, we do have some, we are working on some other policies, and where I was going with this is kind of what you're talking about. As we attend a number of our MMRMA or our Michigan Municipal Risk Management Authority sessions, that is our risk provider, they are constantly talking to us about the risks. I mean, yes, are there rewards with AI? Absolutely. There's ways to make things happen more quickly, but there's also a lot of danger. And so we focus on that. And I know our IT department is very cognizant of making sure that our firewall stays intact to make sure that we don't get exposed to some bad actors that we don't want to be exposed to. The one thing that we saw a few different times now at our conferences is they can take our voice as an example, a voice from this committee meeting.
Oh, the deep fake.
And then what they do is they can create your face and they can give an image that appears as though you are talking and saying something, and it's truly not you at all. And I think if anyone is getting on any of our social media, I mean, and I know that Ms. Ambrose could probably talk more about this than me, but if you get on Facebook, Instagram, any of those, you will see things and you're not sure whether it's real or not anymore, because that intelligence has gotten so refined, and it's very difficult to tell real from fake. So as we go forward with this, in fact, Ms. Elliott and I just came back from a conference where that was a topic again, and MMRMA is hitting it quite often, where we are going to be wanting to roll out some policies, some procedures, to make sure that everyone is aware of not only the advantages, but the disadvantages also.
Yes, thank you. I think that would be very helpful. I know people are kind of scrambling because this is being thrown at us so quickly compared to most things, but that's what we've been talking about, how technology, you know, increases exponentially. And so thank you for your work on this. And I think it's going to be a continuous growth topic for years to come. So thank you. Any more questions of the IT report? Hearing none, seeing none. Moving along to, we have a request before us today.
The request before you today is part of your 2026 capital plan, which is phase one of Microsoft 365 rollout for Lenawee County. This phase one rollout, it will include 50 users and selected departments. And over the next 4 years, we'll migrate all of Lenawee County to Microsoft 365. The current plan right now is $40,000. And so the request before you is to approve the fund allocation for the initial implementation of Microsoft 365, not to exceed $40,000.
So move.
Motion by Commissioner Tillotson, supported by Commissioner Collins. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those same sign, motion carries. Thank you so much. And now moving along to communications, as Jennifer takes the stage. Thank you for joining us today, Jennifer. We look forward to the presentation.
Well, I have some show and tell again for you today, so that's why I'm over here. Before we do that, let's go briefly into my report that is in your packet. On the website, our monthly users for February, were much higher than we typically have been. But our county has been very active in the news lately, which is usually why that happens. We're approaching 35,000 users in the month of February. The other thing that I wanted to touch on the website is one of the things I wanted to show you. If you go to our website, let me go to the main page here. We have right here, this bill pay section as soon as you go into it. And in here, you can get to a lot of the links of things that you would want to pay online through county government. Some of these go to vendor software. So for example, property taxes go there, child support goes to the state. There are things on here. There's another one that goes somewhere else. But a lot of these go to what we refer to as G2G. And that's G2G, which stands for government to government, I believe. It's a partnership with Oakland County. They're the ones that help us process credit card payments. And in a lot of departments, they have the kiosks that sit on the counters so you can pay by credit card. They have upgraded their processes within this last year and upgraded all those kiosks. Now they take things like Google Pay and Apple Pay. They have Tap to Pay and things like that. And part of this upgrade also included their online portal and how they process these things. And so that looks a little bit different on the back end. One of my biggest complaints is when you would click through these links, it looks like it was a completely different website and you were a little worried again of the bad actor situation. It just looked a little weird, and we had a lot of people, is this the right place for me to pay these things? So that has been upgraded. But I wanted to show a little bit of what that looks like if you were to come in here. One of the things, we do this very intentionally, that bill pay section is right where you first can see it on the website. It's also in here in a couple different places where you can see, oh, this is, how I go in and pay my things online. But on here, the reason we have things listed this way is residents, when they're trying to figure out how they pay their traffic ticket, they're not going to know that that is through district court. And so when they come to the county website, they're going to go to the search bar at the top and type, how do I pay my traffic ticket online? So that's why these things are listed this way very intentionally in this pay online section. It's by use case. So that way it comes up in the search and it makes it easier for our residents to find what they're trying to do. And then when you click in here, let's say I need to pay for an autopsy report, comes here. Once again, this looks like it's a Lenawee County thing. You come in here, you can go down, and then you're in the department section, and then you can click exactly what you're trying to do. And then based on this, you will get different options here. We've also, since we've gone in and I've updated all of these links in here once we went live with the new system. The other thing that I have done, let's do district, is I've made new buttons for all of the departments that take online payments. So they all look the same now and they're consistent across all of the departments. I've also put them in very consistent spots in each department section. So no matter where you go, show you. They will always exist here in the sidebar right underneath this contact us. And so that way we're being consistent across all the departments. So if people do business with our county across multiple departments, they know where to find this consistently. The other thing that I'm doing is I'm also putting it on every page. So that way it's there and they can find what they need to do. So that has been a change within the last one. Thought you might be interested to see what it looks like. On our social media accounts, I am pleased and excited to report our followers are now over 15,000. So that's kind of exciting. Our metrics this month, which is these things right here, those were down slightly compared to the same time last year, which is a bit unusual. And I looked into it and that seems to be related to our posting was a little bit down. We had a couple of technical glitches this last month, but knock on wood, I think they're all fixed now. we are moving along just fine. These were our top posts in February. And these are the numbers for the health department and the Department on Aging. Those continue to just go up every month. Our video stats, these are mostly our live meetings. This is about where it typically is. And our email numbers, again, they went down slightly. That is, again, related to that same issue. And also a bit of a data anomaly. I had to run this report the morning of the 27th, and the 60-second update had just gone out, so not very many people had opened it, and that's why that's down a little bit. We also, in February, sent those text messages to about 80 contacts in that jury pool in relation to the trial across the street. I looked at the billing for that, and I believe the first 30 days were free, and then in February, we used it a couple times, and so I believe we only spent $10 on that entire thing, which saved 80 people from having to call in every single day to find out if they needed a report the day. So I believe that's money well spent. Our live meetings for the month of February, in here, the most popular meeting was the Bridging the Gap Subcommittee in February. Here's our website numbers. Nothing real. Okay, the other thing that I pulled this month is I like to do this every year, is I ran for our main Lenawee County accounts, our main 6 accounts. I ran a performance report for all of 2025, compared that to all of 2024 to see kind of how we performed for the year. For the year, impressions were up 220%. Impressions are number of eyeballs basically on your content. Engagements were up 186%. That's the number of times people are engaging with your content. So that can be likes, comments, shares. They're doing something with your content. Post link clicks are the number of times, like if you have a link in your post, they're clicking that link to go somewhere else. So typically with us, it's back to the website for more information. Here you can see our audience growth over time across the various platforms. Our net audience growth was about 185%. We saw 157% on Facebook, 350% on Instagram. Now, some of these, there are no numbers on here, like Threads, TikTok, and YouTube. That's because all of those were started within this last year. So the percentages didn't really pull through. And also you notice Blue Sky is not in here. Blue Sky, I can now schedule Blue Sky through our software. It is not yet pulling that data into our. Here's our message volume, both sent and received. Sent messages are the posts that we're putting out, as well as replies to comments or replies to direct messages. You can see that went up almost 78% this last year. And this is where these percentages are a little skewed because we just started Threads. So of course that went up like 5,000%. But the ones that really I like to look at are the ones that we've already had. And for that, Instagram went up significantly and Facebook also went up almost 70%. Received messages are the messages that are coming into us. So those are comments on messages or direct contact through our inbox. Facebook went up 130% and Instagram went up about 70%. Again, this is impressions, and then it breaks it down for you by network. Facebook went up 228%, Instagram went up 753%. So we're seeing a lot of growth on Instagram this last year. Engagements on Facebook went up and Instagram went up a little bit more. These are our video views. You can see they went up significantly at the end of the year. That's because we did those TikTok videos and then also posted them to Facebook as well. Facebook video views went up over 1,000%. Some of this is the live streaming and how many meetings we are live streaming now, but it is also those additional videos that we did. And Instagram Reel videos went up almost 4,000%. And then it breaks it down by each of our profiles against all of these categories. You can see how much they went up over the entire year and how they break down. Facebook continues to be our best platform for communicating information to our residents, but we are seeing growth in some of these other platforms. This year, Instagram was the biggest one, but I will also say TikTok. We just started the TikTok account this month and we already have almost 500 users. That is all I have, if anyone has any questions.
That was a lot. That was a lot of great growth and activities that we see month after month. So thanks for all your work, Jennifer and your team, for doing all that to get the message out and the communication and even the website work. That's pretty impressive. That it's not, not everybody knows it's not, you just don't click on that stuff and drag it around and it just appears. That's pretty high level stuff. So, thank you. All right, any questions of the communications report? All right, thank you, Jennifer. All right, on to the equalization report.
All right, so it's coming into a busy time as assessors. Change notices went out in the mail on February 20th. So we're getting ready for a board review next week. We're making appointments. Says everyone except for the city of Hudson. This will be next week. Theirs is later. We had our organizational meetings on Tuesday, where we turned over our assessment rolls. We ran final rolls and then record cards for the units that don't have quite the internet that the rest of them do. Derek in GIS ran our maps for the township's quarter review. They need their land value maps, ECF maps, and then sales maps. For taxes, we're working on warrants in the delinquent roll for settlement with the treasurer. And then studies will start for 2026. For the 27 year will be picked probably beginning of May. First part of April, maybe, for letters and stuff to go out after we're finished with border review and then county and state equalization.
All right, any questions of the equalization report? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, now on to other business. Is there any other business for us today? Is there any other business? Hearing none, we've moved along now to public comment period. Is there any public comment? Is there any public comment? Is there any public comment? Seeing none, hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion by Commissioner Collins, supported by Commissioner Tillotson. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Both same